Hello, welcome to Disconnected Earth. Thanks for joining. If you, let's put it this way, the best way to help this sort of content is to just like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment down below. Anyway, today's topic, well, this video's topic, is about Brexit, the good old Brexit. And here we have the British Chamber of Commerce, Siobhan Haviland, talking about issues around Brexit, but the main important thing to focus on here, in my opinion, is the problem with exporting that any business now faces. There are quite a number of videos and also testimonies from small to medium businesses who did a lot of work exporting to Europe, which has now become near impossible, to be fair, or massively expensive and complicated. And because it's expensive and complicated, it also means that it's not just the businesses from this side that are struggling to export to EU, which was our, was our biggest market. But also, there's another point which is not mentioned in this video, but it's also businesses in Europe who are stopping their dealings with British companies because they face, bureaucracies and costs from their side too. So it's for them, because they have access to other competitors in the same market on the mainland, and it's much easier to deal with them. Therefore, they would just leave the British company and trade with somebody else, which is easier and cheaper. That's obvious, that's how business works. But let's listen to what she has to say.
You were talking there about exports and also about getting the protocol right, the Northern Ireland Protocol, the famous protocol. Do you think that the government is, reluctant to talk honestly about the impacts of Brexit for political reasons?
So, businesses that export are more resilient, they're stronger, they last longer, they pay better. It's incredibly important. And those who had been exporting to the EU have had huge issues over the last 2 years. I mean, food and drink businesses who have just stopped exporting to the EU because it's too difficult. And that is the opposite of growth. So
I think this is an interesting point, because So Britain doesn't have a lot of things that they can export anymore. They mainly, especially like the likes of London, they deal with financial services and stuff like that. But everything else that is about exporting, farmers, manufacturers, anything like that, not exporting to our biggest market means that, it essentially means that their business shrinks massively. Because the other markets aren't really open yet, or easily accessible. They're exactly the same as they used to be, trying to export to other countries.
Getting the Northern Ireland Protocol away is going to be really important to then going on to fixing the bits of the trade agreement that aren't working around VAT, around food and drink exports. I mean, they really, everywhere I go, they tell us that's a significant problem. And that's not just export of goods, that's use of professional services, moving people around Europe, all of that.
Are you optimistic that the government could actually do something about it?
Right, so there's another part in this video which I want to showcase, but first, the reason exporting is so important to a country is because it is a way of bringing in new money from other places. If you only deal within your own economy, so if you are creating stuff but you're only selling it within your own economy, within your own country, you are really just circulating the same money around and around. And every time that money makes a circle, some of it gets lost. It either gets lost to taxes or fees or bank or whatever. It doesn't matter. What's so important about having exporting to other countries is because the country you're exporting from is receiving foreign money into the economy. It's a way of creating additional money within your economy.
We're hearing positive things about Northern Ireland Protocol.
So there was another piece, let me just look at
development piece. There are some good things going on.
And on that, because there's been quite a focus on the over 50s, is that the right policy? Or
At childcare, so we can also tell us we need people from the rest of the
place, right? There's also a big debate in the Conservative Party about tax cuts. The line from the Chancellor.
For access to people so they can grow their businesses, helping them with their energy bills, but also, we have huge opportunities in green innovation, for example. So
for businesses now than it has been in previous years, even during COVID or during the financial crash, or things a bit more optimistic?
If you'd asked me a year ago, a bit of forward view, we are now seeing inflation hopefully peaking. Subsidies or handouts is about investing.
If you're talking about getting people back into the workplace, right?
We need to look at childcare so we can't get the people I need to grow my business. So we want to see a bit more founded here, growing here, and that's what we want to.
A poor country with just a wealthy pocket in London and the South.
To support local business. And remember, local businesses are people.
Food bills and stuff like that. A recent analysis in the Financial Times suggested that on present trends, the average Polish family will be richer in the South East. Do we need to...
Businesses are people saying to me, this is worse than COVID. But the energy package...
And put it into some context. We talked about some of the challenges, whether it's trade, whether it's inflation. Do you think it's harder for businesses now?
Can grow their businesses, helping them with...
For tax cuts?
So in areas like hospitality where they're really struggling.
We'll talk about childcare a bit later.
We need people from million open roles in this country. By the government's estimate, that's about 5 government on the economically inactive. The Chancellor talked about it on Friday. That sort of skills development piece was unique global IP founded here on areas like export.
About the impacts of Brexit for political
problem, and that's not just export of goods. That's we're hoping for this quarter. We really need to see it this quarter because that way we can move on with the special committees and we can fix the bits that aren't working.
That's really interesting. Just staying on the Chancellor's speech, he railed against declinism.
So here's the next piece that I want to highlight, which is just words, bubble, bullshit.
Special committees and we can fix the bits that aren't working.
That's really interesting. Just staying on the Chancellor's speech, he railed against declinism. He was saying there's too much pessimism about the prospects of the UK economy. But, in a way I kind of think we're the only G7 economy still smaller than before the pandemic. Inflation is higher here in comparison to other countries. We talked about the trade hit that many businesses have seen. We're getting poorer. That's not declinism, that's reality, right?
When I meet businesses of the UK, they do lay out the challenges that we're facing and some of the fixes that we need on that. But business people are by their nature optimistic, they're forward-looking, they're positive. And Friday after I saw the Chancellor, I went to Huntington. I met an amazing business that is in advanced materials, unique global IP, founded here, growing here. And that's what we want to talk up. That's what we want to see more of. But there are some issues that we need to fix. So everywhere I go, businesses say, I can't get the people I need to grow my...
Right. So what I want to add to this is this is like gaslighting, don't be negative, all that bullshit. The reason is it's just pure gaslighting. If a business is struggling and they have real barriers, they're going to call it out. And if the government's policies make that impossible or extremely difficult, it means the business cannot flourish. And if you want business to flourish, you need to make it easy for businesses to be able to work, to trade, to create. This idea that you should just be positive, it's like telling a depressed person to cheer up, basically, Anyway, that's it for today.